Not every threat comes from the sky or beneath the earth. Sometimes chaos itself emerges from the forest just behind the village. In the US, thousands of farmlands have been torn apart, barns destroyed, and livestock gone missing. The culprit? Wild boars, the silent yet formidable enemy of the countryside. They are not merely wild animals. They are nightmares with tusks and claws. And when peace is threatened, we are left with no choice. The hunt begins, not for thrill, but to protect the very soul of our homeland. Join us in this journey and feel every tense, decisive moment in the battle to defend this land. Whoever said hunting is just about pulling the trigger has never been on the chase. For me, every hunt is a battle of wits, where each breath, each movement can decide victory or defeat. It's not just about the rifle's accuracy, but about composure, a cold, razor-sharp focus in the heart of the wild. And then, as if the forest itself was whispering a challenge, the first target of the day silently emerged from the mist. In the stillness of the field, the silhouette of a wild boar appeared like a powerful invader, ready to tear apart the lush crops. We reacted instantly. A deafening blast, boom, the bullet cut through the air like lightning. But the beast was too strong. The shot didn't bring it down. Instead, it panicked and stormed into the dark forest like a raging tempest. The chase ended, but it was only the beginning of a long and fierce journey ahead. As we continued silently across the vast fields, a shadow suddenly appeared within sight. A single, cold squeeze of the trigger, bang! The blast shattered the silence, sending flocks of birds scattering in terror. The target collapsed instantly, motionless. One clean shot had secured the safety of the crops beyond. Amid a herd of foraging boars, I carefully singled out my target. The distance was far, but my grip was steady. My breath slowed. Every second stretched into eternity. Suddenly, bang! The bullet tore through the air, striking a large boar. It staggered, crashed to the ground, struggled briefly, and then lay still. The herd scattered in panic, leaving behind a valuable prize. We pressed into the dense thickets, where tense chases awaited. The boars dashed frantically through the undergrowth, desperate to escape the tightening circle. But with experience and determination, we trailed them relentlessly, confident in our control of this demanding hunt. And then, the first thrilling pursuit truly began. Through the dry leaves of the thicket, I moved cautiously, every sense sharpened to catch the slightest sign of prey. Suddenly, from behind a large bush, a boar burst forth like a storm, charging straight at me with furious speed, as if I were the hunted. A split-second reaction, bang! The beast collapsed, gasping its final breath before going still. I exhaled in relief, my heartbeat slowly returning to normal. David, a seasoned marksman with years of hunting experience, stood silently in the thick brush, his scope coldly locked on every detail of the unsuspecting prey. The forest seemed to hold its breath, only his racing heartbeat echoed in the silence. The boar, still busy foraging, had no idea danger was closing in. A thunderous shot rang out. The bullet pierced through the tall grass, dropping the beast instantly. That moment was not only a hunter's triumph, but also a stern warning to the destroyers of the fields. Leaving the tangled thickets behind, we followed a forest trail where faint light filtered through the canopy and danger lurked behind every tree. Suddenly, an entire herd appeared. Without hesitation, Tom, a veteran shooter with eyes sharp as lasers, raised his rifle and locked on. A thunderous crack tore the silence. The target staggered violently, tried to flee, but its strength failed. It collapsed among the rustling leaves. The final quarry of the day had fallen. But what we claimed wasn't just the end. It was the peace of the village, the faith of farmers living under a harsh sky. The echoes of gunfire today were not just the end of a hunt. They were the sighs of relief from an entire community that had endured countless nights of worry. It was the sound of hope, the sound of peace returning to farmlands once ravaged. Every bullet fired carried not just courage, but responsibility to protect life, to defend the fields and homes we love. We are not alone on this journey. The support of U.S. authorities with protective policies and risk insurance gave us the strength to keep standing firm. We thank the villagers and local government for their wholehearted support that helped our team complete this mission. And thank you for sharing this moment with us. Stay tuned for the next hunting stories, where every step and every shot is a vow to safeguard life and peace for all.
Meticulous planning is always the first and most crucial step to ensure a successful hunting trip. Only after that do we begin moving into the ambush position. With careful observation and attentive listening to even the slightest sounds, the team finally spots the first target. A fierce wild boar with coarse, bristly hair charges forward, darting in and out among the large tree trunks. Once the target enters my scope, I immediately pull the trigger. The bullet flies straight and hits the boar's body directly, bringing it down after just a few staggering steps. Less than 5 minutes later, a few more wild boars suddenly rush down. The moment they pause and then change direction, the whole team opens fire in a flurry. But the boars are incredibly agile. They manage to weave through the hail of bullets and escape. Under the fierce pursuit of the hunting dogs, a few more wild boars begin to appear. My gun is ready. I take careful aim and gently squeeze the trigger. Bang! A single, decisive shot. The boar loses its footing, slides across the dry leaf bed, and collapses. A lightning-fast shot. With a great start, the whole team eagerly pushes forward. As we follow a narrow trail, a dark shadow suddenly darts out from the roadside bushes. Without hesitation, I raise the rifle and fire. The boar is hit and drops instantly. But the real shock is yet to come. A whole herd of wild boars suddenly bursts out, taking us completely by surprise. The team fires simultaneously from various positions. Once shots echo thunderously, shattering the forest's silence. Several wild boars are taken down right on the spot. Just minutes later, yet another herd charges out, this time even larger and more aggressive. Big ones, small ones, all rushing wildly. I hold my rifle steady and fire, but only one boar is taken down. Following the tracks, we head toward a cluster of nearby trees. A face-to-face confrontation breaks out in an instant. The shot is fired, and the boar is hit before it can even react, collapsing to the ground immediately. The forest returns to its usual silence, but our team remains on high alert. Gunfire rings out again, this time from Basil's position. Facing a marksman as seasoned as Basil, the boar had no chance of escape. I move westward, make myself a concealed hideout, and wait patiently. From behind thick trees, a few wild boars quietly emerge, moving slowly and cautiously. I only have one shot. I quickly pull the trigger. One shot, one kill. The large boar collapses heavily onto the ground. The next opportunity comes unexpectedly. A medium-sized boar rushes straight at us. With another single shot, Basil drops it instantly. As we exit the forest, we suddenly hear rustling from the roadside bushes. I nervously raise my gun, waiting for the prey to reveal itself. In a flash, a dark shape lunges out. Without thinking, I pull the trigger. 3 rapid shots. The boar lies motionless on the ground. That wraps up today's video. What do you think about this hunting trip? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to catch more thrilling hunts ahead.
Hunting wild boars in Virginia is not a walk in the park. It is a real battle of wits between humans and the notoriously stubborn and cunning wild boar herds. As a hunter who has tracked them many times in the dense forests of southern Virginia, I know well, this is an experience not for the faint-hearted. Every time I raise my gun, the tension reaches its peak at a place where patience, skill, and courage are all tested to their limits. We checked our guns and ammunition one last time before entering the area that had been previously scouted. No one spoke much, only the crunch of footsteps on dry leaves and the steadily rising heartbeat as the hunt drew near. There it is. It seems the hunting dogs have found the prey. I focused on listening to locate the echoing barks, gripping my gun tightly, and getting ready to shoot. As soon as the wild boar was driven down from the hillside, I didn't hesitate to pull the trigger. The boar collapsed right under a tree trunk. In the forest, caution is never too much. When crossing a forest path, a hunter's instinct suddenly kicked in, so I stopped and silently ambushed. Sure enough, just minutes later, the next prey appeared. It dashed out from the other side of the path, sprinting right in front of me. I startled and raised my gun to fire. Unfortunately, this shot was a bit rushed. The bullet only grazed the boar, which managed to disappear into the bushes on this side of the path. A true escape for it. One failure only made me more determined to hunt down the other destructive beasts. Not long after, the chance to redeem myself came. A whole herd of wild boars ran across in front of me. One separated from the group and unfortunately stepped into my sights. A precise shot that brought the target down immediately. Another trophy in hand. I moved south to regroup with the other hunters. A large herd of wild boars appeared on the opposite side. Michael fired the opening shot. The herd immediately changed direction and fled. I quickly fired a second shot, but didn't hit any. The gunshot only panicked the herd more, driving them into the dense trees behind us. From our current position, tracking them was nearly impossible. Besides, the herd consisted mainly of piglets and medium-sized boars, not worth risking a chase. We decided to stop and conserve energy for more worthy targets. Afternoon is the hardest time to track wild boar trails. The team quietly led the hunting dogs, spreading out in multiple directions to increase chances of spotting prey. Wow, a fairly large male boar suddenly appeared. My heart rate soared. In a flash, a dry gunshot echoed, shattering the silence. The boar startled and darted away, but its escape effort only bought it a little more time. The pack of hunting dogs soon chased it to exhaustion, the perfect moment for me to raise my gun again and decisively pull the trigger. The boar tumbled and lay motionless. The tense chase was over. Because the way back was quite far, we decided to retreat early instead of prolonging the hunt until late afternoon as usual. However, before leaving the area, the team had another unexpected encounter with a wild boar. From a thick bush by the roadside, the boar suddenly charged out. I tried to get closer, held the gun steady, and fired repeatedly. After a few misses, the boar was finally hit and thrashed near the roadside. Beyond our original plan, the team stopped the vehicle at a large olive grove on the way back. I had heard local residents report that wild boars appeared quite often in this area. There are bushes, water, and plenty of fallen olives here, providing shelter and abundant food for boars to hide and breed. This concludes today's hunting journey. Did this trip excite you? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling hunts.
Hideout for wild beasts. From here, they sweep down, ravaging crops and threatening the safety of people and livestock. Unable to stand idly by, the hunters set out, determined to extinguish this menace. Will the upcoming footage fully capture the intensity of this thrilling pursuit? Follow along to the end and pick the hunting moment that excites you the most. At dawn, Thomas's hunting team gathered, heading to the French Hills in their familiar truck. Upon arrival, the team swiftly dispersed, taking their pre-assigned positions. Soon after, a hunter concealed in the underbrush spotted a wild boar charging across his line of sight. Not letting it escape, a decisive shot rang out. The beast was felled in an instant, unaware of what hit it. A precise, resolute shot, kicking off the day's relentless pursuit. On the eastern slope of the hill, Nick was tracking the beast's trail when a wild boar suddenly appeared before him. Seizing the moment before it sensed danger, he pulled the trigger. A rapid burst of gunfire stopped it dead in its tracks on the dry grass. Another threat was swiftly dealt with, marking another triumph in the team's relentless journey. A clean takedown was just executed by the team's finest hunter. At another angle of the hillside, a wild boar was frantically fleeing from the pursuit of a hunting dog. Unfortunately for it, the boar charged right into Thomas's ambush position. A rapid volley of gunfire rang out, leaving no other outcome. It was swiftly brought down. A quick, decisive strike, halting the beast from further harming the local people. At another vantage point, Nick lay in ambush, closely watching every movement on the opposite hillside. Through his scope, a hidden boar gradually came into view. The moment it exposed itself, a barrage of shots was unleashed, cutting off its escape. The beast collapsed instantly, no longer able to wreak further havoc. Leaving the hills of France, we move to a hunt in the frigid, snow-covered mountains. Here, the hunting team has set up a tight encirclement across the mountain. Just minutes later, the hound's barks echoed, signaling the target's position. The wild boar, surrounded, couldn't escape Jack's scope. Choosing the perfect angle, he swiftly pulled the trigger. The gunshot rang out, and the boar collapsed onto the white snow, its chance of escape extinguished. At the same moment, deep in the forest, another hunter spotted a familiar silhouette trudging through the thick snow. Unaware of the danger lurking ahead, the beast pressed on. Waiting for the perfect moment, a single shot rang out, halting its attempt to flee. A precise, clean shot, adding another victory to the team's tally. Today's journey comes to a close here. Every tense moment, every heart-stopping shot, from dense hills to snowy expanses, has helped ease the fears of the local people. If you're eager to follow more thrilling pursuits like these, don't forget to leave a comment and share your thoughts. See you in the next videos, where the hunts will grow even fiercer, and the beasts won't fall so easily.
They're serene lands, but deep within, nature churns with relentless ferocity. Wild boars are not just creatures of the wild, they are a silent threat to crops and human livelihoods. Across America, fields lie ravaged, barns stand in ruins, and forests are devastated by these animals. Their presence signals an unforgiving battle, and we will not surrender in this fight. Will our skills and experience be enough to reclaim control from these growling shadows? Join us to find the answer right now. Kicking off today's hunt, we venture into towering Rocky Mountains, where rugged terrain and dense thickets obscure visibility. After checking our equipment, organizing the team, and coordinating communication positions, the group begins moving along the steep slopes. From a distance, at the base of the cliff, I catch a glimpse of a wild boar lurking behind dry grass. Without hesitation, I get into position, raise my rifle, and prepare for the confrontation. Patiently waiting and aiming directly at the boar, I pull the trigger. With a single shot hitting its weak spot, the wild boar collapses, instantly unable to react. It seemed like everything ended with the first shot, but no, it was only the beginning. Suddenly, the rustling of dry leaves echoed. Another wild boar was charging toward me. Without hesitation, I took aim, and when the moment was right, I pulled the trigger. The bullet struck the boar's body, sending it tumbling down the cliff before it went completely still. Not far away, on another cliff, my teammate John was locked in a fierce struggle. 3 wild boars burst out from the bushes, fleeing in the opposite direction of his ambush. But in a split second, John fired 3 precise shots, taking down all 3 before they could escape. After hearing the decisive shots from John's direction, the team realized he had finished his pursuit. Without delay, Tony decided to navigate along the rocky slope and climb to a higher vantage point to survey the situation. From above, he spotted the dark silhouette of a wild boar weaving through the tall grass, charging straight toward him. Without hesitation, Tony raised his rifle and fired. 2 precise shots, and the boar collapsed right in front of him. Contrary to our stealth, the forest began to echo with sounds signaling another battle about to unfold. Among the trees, the rapid, forceful stomping on ground grew louder. Suddenly, a massive black shape darted past like lightning, a large, powerful wild boar charging like a whirlwind. I gripped my rifle tightly. Cold sweat trickled down my spine as heavy breaths filled the air. The boar weaved through the underbrush, disappearing and reappearing in flashes. After a few seconds, it fully emerged between the trees. Without hesitation, I pulled the trigger. The deafening shot shattered the silence. The beast collapsed, motionless. The forest fell quiet again, save for our ragged breathing. We ventured deeper into the forest, known to be a favorite haunt of wild boars. As expected, there was little time to catch our breath after the previous shot. Another boar appeared not far away, moving through a clearing in the woods. I took cover behind a small tree, raised my rifle, pressed it firmly against my cheek, steadied my breathing, and when the moment was perfect, I pulled the trigger without hesitation. The shot rang out, clear, sharp, and decisive. The beast staggered from the impact and collapsed motionless. Other boars scattered chaotically through the forest, and my teammates worked swiftly to take down as many as possible. At the same time, a few hundred meters away in the western part of the forest, my teammate was engaged in his own intense battle. Before him, a wild boar charged forward, its hooves crunching through the dry leaves, shattering the forest silence. His eyes locked onto its every move, the barrel of his rifle tracking the boar like a shadow. At the precise moment the animal stepped into his crosshairs, a decisive shot rang out. Without hesitation, the beast halted, then collapsed onto the leaf-covered forest floor. We decided to head back before dark carrying our trophies. Hunting wild boars isn't for sport, it's a mission to protect ourselves and the local community. There's no recklessness here, only experience, preparation, and the resolve of seasoned hunters. All activities strictly adhere to legal regulations and prioritize safety.
Recently, a ferocious herd of wild boars has appeared right in residential areas, causing chaos and endangering the safety of the people. They are aggressive and destructive, rampaging through properties and even attacking humans. This situation cannot continue, so a team of professional hunters has taken action. Can we stop these wild beasts in time? Watch now to witness this intense confrontation. Wild boars are formidable creatures with high adaptability and a strong survival instinct. When their numbers grow uncontrollably, they spill onto streets, penetrate deep into residential areas, and create numerous threats. Not only do they destroy crops and ravage farmland, causing heavy losses to farmers, but they also attack livestock and even threaten human lives. The situation not only disrupts daily life, but also poses a major challenge in controlling and managing these wild animals. In the dead of night, we set out, weapons in hand, determined to eliminate this threat. In a nearby field, the wild boar herd roamed freely, digging up the soil in search of food, completely unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows. Waiting for the perfect moment, locked onto our targets, and pulled the trigger. Panic erupted among the herd as they scattered in all directions. One by one, they fell under a relentless barrage of gunfire. This high-stakes pursuit demanded precision and skill, showcasing our expertise in hunting. This was not just a battle for survival, but a mission to restore peace and safety for the community. Night hunting for wild boars is an extreme challenge. The lack of light limits visibility, but we have the advantage of infrared scopes and thermal imaging. Most importantly, precision shooting is crucial. A well-placed shot can take down the target instantly, but a single mistake could turn us from hunters into the hunted in the dangerous darkness. Wild boars possess an incredibly sharp sense of smell. Just a faint scent of us carried by the wind could send the entire herd into a frenzy. That's why we must maintain absolute silence and position ourselves downwind to avoid detection. Nighttime is when wild boars are most active, roaming in herds to devastate farmlands. Although their night vision is not the best, they navigate skillfully using their acute sense of smell and exceptional hearing. Even the slightest sound or an unfamiliar scent can put them on high alert. Moving in groups also helps them stay oriented and protect one another. But tonight, luck is not on their side. We locked our sights onto our targets and pulled the trigger, taking down these destructive creatures without hesitation. As dawn broke, we left the residential area and ventured deep into the vast hills. This was the true stronghold of the wild boars, where they thrive and multiply rapidly. We scanned the landscape. And then, there it was, a massive, muscular wild boar leisurely making its way down the hill. The tension in the air was palpable. I squeezed the trigger without hesitation. Gunfire echoed through the hills, breaking the silence. Our persistence and determination finally paid off, bringing us a well-earned victory. Wild boars may outrun hunting dogs, but against seasoned hunters like us, they stand no chance. They sprinted at full speed, desperately trying to escape. But unfortunately for them, we had anticipated their every move. The hunt has come to an end, and the invading wild boar herd has finally been contained. However, the threat of wild boars is far from over. More hunts will inevitably follow. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling hunts ahead.
I've hunted in many places from the misty forests of Normandy to the vast cornfields of Iowa, but nowhere has stirred my emotions quite like the southwest of France, especially among the long-abandoned vineyards. This region has become a haven for wild boars, drawn by the abundant food supply. Of course, hunting wild boars here isn't about sport, it's about survival. Local farmers have lived in fear for years, as these animals have destroyed large portions of their farms. As the sun rose over the vast open fields, we spread out in different directions to track and hunt wild boars. Thanks to the flat terrain, we use motorbikes to move swiftly during the hunt. Suddenly, a massive wild boar appeared. Without time to think, we raised our rifles and fired. The boar dropped instantly after a single shot. My heart was pounding not out of fear, but from adrenaline and the thrill of victory. But we didn't stop there. We jumped into the buggy and raced across the green fields. The roar of the engine mixed with the grunts of fleeing boars. We quickly reloaded and fired again. Even though wild boars are incredibly fast, they were no match for the speed of the buggy or the precision of our bullets. Another wild boar appeared, and once again, we took careful aim and brought it down with precision. These boars were likely the very ones that had ravaged our farms. If they aren't dealt with, farmers won't be able to plant a single seed in these fields because the boars will destroy everything, even the seedlings, before they have a chance to grow. After our lunch break, we continued the hunt in the southern forest edge that afternoon, a place where green grasslands intertwine with dense shrubs. While lying in ambush, we heard rustling in the bushes. Then a wild boar emerged. We quickly raised our rifles and took it down with a precise shot. It dropped instantly from a clean, fatal hit. Every time a boar appeared, I fired without hesitation because the local farmers are counting on us. They've placed all their hopes in our hands, trusting that we'll help them eliminate these destructive creatures. Our journey continued throughout the afternoon. We knew that most of the wild boars were hiding in this area, only venturing out when searching for food, often near the surrounding farm. Within just a few hours, several wild boars appeared within my sights. We ventured deep into the mountains to hunt wild boars, a mix of excitement and tension filling the air as we entered their stronghold, eager to take down even more. We carefully examined the tracks they left on the ground, hoping to determine their direction of movement. Wasting no time, my team and I opened fire. We gathered our hard-earned trophies with satisfaction. By late afternoon, we had planned to wrap up the hunt. But then a report came through the radio. A massive herd of wild boars was tearing up a harvested cornfield. We rushed to the location and saw the boars charging out from the bushes. One by one, we took them down determined not to let a single one escape. Hunting wild boars demands patience and persistence you can't give up. And this is our result. One massive wild boar. All the wild boars we hunted were gathered in one spot and loaded onto the truck. Once everything was secured, we drove back to the gathering camp where everyone shared food, drinks, and plenty of laughter. I could genuinely feel the warmth and friendliness of the group. This hunting trip in the southwest of France taught me far more than I expected, not just about shooting techniques, but about patience, observation, the rhythm of the wild, and the culture of the region. The once golden fields of Florida now lie barren, scarred with chaotic trails. Surrounding them are thick swamps and dense hills, perfect hideouts for the menace that has left farmers sleepless, fearing for their crops. As the crisis escalates, local authorities have issued an emergency hunting order. Today, professional hunting teams and their fierce hounds step into battle, not only for safety, but to reclaim the livelihood of hundreds of farming families. At first light, John's hunting team was already on the move, their truck loaded with gear, charging straight into the Florida swamps. Upon arrival, the team spread out into pre-assigned positions without delay. John and his partner boarded a small boat, setting out to track down the beasts. Barely 15 minutes later, John's sharp eyes locked onto a wild boar wallowing in mud. Without hesitation, the gunshot rang out, eliminating the threat in an instant. A clean, precise, and swift shot, the perfect opening for today's hunt. Leaving the boat behind, John quietly advanced deeper into the swamp, slipping into his hidden post. From afar, he spotted a wild boar engrossed in foraging, oblivious to the intruder nearby. With swift, practiced motions, John raised his weapon. The sharp crack of the gun shattered the silence. One single shot, neat, decisive. In the blink of an eye, another victory was secured, accurate, efficient, and merciless. Before John could move in to confirm his kill, the furious barking of hounds drew his attention. He rushed toward the sound. Just minutes later, he arrived at the scene, a wild boar surrounded by a relentless pack of hunting dogs. John raised his gun and fired a direct shot. One bullet was enough, the beast collapsed heavily to the ground. Another threat eliminated, another safeguard for the farmer's crops. a sharp crack echoed through the forest, signaling the hunters' arrival. Kevin's familiar hunting truck pushed through the dense undergrowth. As soon as they arrived, the team split into their signposts. Moments later, a wild boar ambled lazily across Kevin's sights. Calm, precise movements, then the trigger squeeze. The shot was flawless. The threat was neutralized before it could vanish into the forest. Pressing deeper into the forest, Kevin's eyes scanned every shadow. Suddenly, a boar charged straight at him. A shot fired. Instantly, the beast fell to the ground. But before relief set in, another boar lunged from the thicket. Kevin fired again, but missed. The beast vanished into the depths of the woods. Unfazed, he began tracking its trail. The hunt was far from over. It wasn't long before Kevin and his team located their quarry through binoculars. The boar hid among thick tree trunks, unaware of the hunters closing in. Seizing the moment, Kevin took aim. The powerful shot echoed through the forest. The beast staggered, tried to escape, but soon lay lifeless on the cold ground. The hunt ended with a spectacular finish, another deadly threat eliminated, and the crops once again safe from destructive beasts.